Okay, today we're going to discuss topic 8, which is on animal products and byproducts. And in this table, we are presented with the main components of the milk, such as fat, protein, lactose, and ash. And comparing across the domestic ruminant species, we mainly have cow as the most famous one, giving off most of the milk or high volumes of milk, followed by a specific dairy buffalo breed, the Mira breed, and then the generic or the general Carabao's milk across the other breeds, and then the goat's milk. Okay, in particularly talking about fat, we start as the baseline in cow's milk at 4.16. And this is already the average. Like if we say that for the Jersey, this can reach up to 5% fat. Okay, but for the general Holstein Friesian and the other dairy breeds, it's on the range of 4 to 4.16. We see in this special breed, the Mira Buffalo, it's increased but not the highest one producing fat compared to the other lactating dairy buffalo breeds. So it's higher than the cow, but much less, 7.38% only. And then for the other dairy buffalo breeds, it can give off as much as 9.65 fat, which is really a lot. So it means that the Carabao's milk would tend to taste fuller, because of the higher percentage of fat. And then we go to the goat's milk, which is quite similar to that of the fat of the cow's milk. Next important component is the protein, and the cow's milk is at 3.17%. And in the dairy cattle farm that I used to work for, we are also operating our own dairy processing plant. And in that plant, we standardize the products that's coming out of it. So we have a standardization of 3.5% protein in the milk products coming out of the processing plant. So if in case we accept milk coming from other sources, because we do that, not only do we get milk from our own farm, but also from other farms. And if that milk is below 3.5%, it's the discretion of the operator or the processor to provide less or to pay less. And if the protein is premium or like more than 3.5%, then there may be some incentive given to the farmer because of that additional protein. And standardization means that if the percent protein is more than 3.5, we're going to remove some of the protein and use it somewhere else, so that liquid milk that will be coming out of the processing plant will all be 3.5%, okay? So in terms of protein, on the Mura buffalo, it's also giving off quite similar percent protein as of the cow's milk and also of the goat's milk. But you see that for the other dairy carbo breeds, it's much higher at 5.26. And even at this point, we can already see that the Carabao's milk is really much superior because the main components are actually fat and protein alone. And so we can see that it's really far superior in terms of quality compared to the cow and the goat's milk. But then the issue is the volume, no? So in terms of pricing, we can expect that the price per liter of a Carabao's milk is twice as the price of the cow's milk, okay? And like, for example, we're selling now 1 liter of cow's milk is like 40 pesos, no, if I'm not mistaken. So 1 liter of Carabao's milk is like 90 pesos or something like that. And that's just the gate price. So if you still process it and make it a product, it's going to be like 150% more than the farm gate price, no? Because you have already several inputs, such as the labor, such as your machines for processing it, cold storage, and all the other additional things, not to do the value adding from the raw milk. Now, going to lactose is quite similar for, again, cow's milk and goat's milk. And for the Carabao's milk, it's still superior at more than 5% lactose. And for the ash, it's ranging from 0.7 to 1% ash. across the domestic ruminant species. Now in this flowchart, we can see the different dairy products that would come out of the whole milk. And the more common that we see would be the basic pasteurized filled plain milk, which means it's not flavored. Otherwise, sorry, I have to pause for a break. Going forward, so we have this flow chart to show you the different byproducts that can come out of the whole milk. The most common one is your pasteurized plain milk. And the other would be depending on the temperatures. If it will be higher, it's sterilized plain milk, or you can put flavor. So you see that we have melon milk, we have chocolate milk, strawberry milk, blueberry milk, etc. Mango milk also. And another byproduct that can come out of the whole milk is your ice cream. So you have a cream base coming from like a more concentrated cream from a lot of milk. Then you can use it as your cream base for ice cream with different flavors. Next is if you put in casein and to ferment the milk, then it will come out to be as cheese with the different kinds of cheese, no, depending on how you did it. The very common one for the Carabao is the queso puti. And then we also have for the products that we were doing at the processing plant, we have mozzarella cheese. We had cottage cheese as well. Then we can dry them up, the whole milk, to make the whole milk powder. And quite related to that is already the infant milk formula, which mainly comprises of cow's milk. So as a mother, it was very reassuring for me to know no, that the work I'm doing is really important in the society, because the cow's milk being produced by the cows that I take care of are being fed to the next generation. Yeah, in that effect, to that effect. Okay. Next is again cream. When you take out, because we have a milk separator or a cream separator, and we separate out the cream, and the cream we can use for whipped cream, we can use for cream base, and for other pastries. And then from that milk separator, when you already remove the milk, the cream, it will go to a separate direction. And then the remaining is now what we call the whey. Okay, and you see that here at the far end, at the middle level. Okay, and then so um the um the milk without the fat is now you call the skim milk. And that skim milk is one of your base ingredients that you can make out for your yogurt, for your non-fat cheese, non-fat milk, liquid milk, non-fat milk powder, condensed skim milk, anything skimmed, okay? Basically, this is what the healthier people would like to consume because it has less the fat. So, lesser risk for having the heart diseases, etc. So you can also make casein and caseinates from here, filled milk and filled cheese. Okay, milk confections will be your milk chocolates and your other milk candies. And then from the whole milk, you can also already make yogurt, okay? And not really having to rely on skim milk to make your yogurt, but from your whole milk, you can also do already your yogurt, okay? So meron kasi tayong non-fat yogurt, meron tayong full yogurt, parang ganon. So ibig sabihin, full fat milk ang ginamit for that yogurt. And honestly, I prefer the full fat milk kasi mas malinamnam siya because of the fat talaga. So yung other people lang, the healthier ones would prefer the non-fat yogurt. Then we have the other ones in cans, popularly that we see in the supermarkets, the evaporated milk, condensed milk, and then the sweetened milk. Going back here in the cheese, no? So when you remove out the protein, then yung parang watery substance that would come out of the separation process is what we call whey. And this has a very high protein. And ito actually is very nutritious. And this should not be put to waste because this can be still made as a product such as whey cheese, whey powder, whey cream, and this can be an add-on to beverages to increase the protein and then as animal feed. So we were also parang recycling the whey as an animal feed. We would put it in the water trough and then they would drink it. It's just that it has to be chilled, no, for it to be used even at a later time. Otherwise, in 24 hours or even 12 hours in a tropical setting, it would get spoiled easily. Okay, for whey cheese, so basically out of the whey na very watery, you would want to put in another resin para mas mag-coagulate ulit sila, yung remaining protein, and that coagulated protein you can use as whey cheese, okay? And then from the whey cream, you can use whey butter pagka ano mo ulit siya, ihulma mo ulit siya para mas maging concentrated siya, then maging siyang whey butter. Okay? And other dairy products that can come out of the cream, you have your coffee cream, salad cream, and butter oil. And from that butter oil, you can get buttermilk powder if you dry it out, and your flavored milk drinks. Okay, then you have your ice cream again coming from your cream. Yeah. So there are many ways. Like for example, for the yogurt, you can use it as a whole milk. You can have a non-fat yogurt, and also for your ice cream, you can use whole milk, and then you can use like a richer ice cream from the cream base from the whole milk. Okay, so yan yung mga different ways on how to go about with this dairy byproduct. Okay, focus more on the milk, no? Basically, this is just to list out what was in the flow chart. So yeah, you have your pasteurized and sterilized milk, ice cream, cheese, whole milk powder, cream and skim milk, milk confection, etc. So yan na yung first level kanina. And then, next in your cheese, yun, kanina meron tayong second level and the many different kinds of cheese, such as also whey cheese. And then more importantly, your byproduct is whey, which I already explained earlier. And many other byproducts from this is your whey cheese, whey powder, whey cream, beverages, and animal feed. And lastly, hindi pa, the last, you have your cream for your coffee, cream, butter, oil byproduct, and then cream. And for your skim, you have again your part. You have your condensed milk skim milk powder, casein, caseinates, and vegetable oil, which may come from your filled milk and filled cheese. As your last slide, what do you think this message is? What do you think this picture tells you as a byproduct, as an example of a milk byproduct? Okay, honestly, hindi ko din to alam at first, but from this picture, this is a milkshake. O, diba? For a very good trivia. Ayan, this is milkshake. So, pampaano lang, pampa-break lang ng ice. So, this ends our topic for today, milk byproduct.